A new documentary called Heard Inuit Voices on Caribou takes us to Labrador to tell the story of Inuit communities and how the dramatic decline of the caribou population and subsequent hunting ban changed their traditional way of life. The film's director, David Borish, and co producer Ines Shywalk talk about why the documentary was made and what they hope viewers will get from it.
We dried it, roasted it, celebrated it. It was a part of who we were.
The whole point of this film, this broader initiative, is to really amplify and document Inuit voices about their relationships with caribou in the context of caribou population declines and lows. The title really, we feel, symbolizes the human dimensions behind this topic.
People have to be heard.
We've all heard stories from our parents about caribou hunting, or like we may have gone on caribou hunting, like in my generation. But like to be able to document what we did about caribou, and to be able to pass it on to the next generation to say like this is what happened when we hunted caribou, or when we were allowed to hunt caribou, and to see and to realize what everybody is missing out on. Like you're not just missing caribou, but you're missing the sort of being together or to connecting with family as you would when you travel to hunt caribou. A lot of it is your connection to community, your connection to land, or connection to family. Like for me specifically, like my mom's family is sort of spread out along the coast, on the south coast and the north coast. So when the caribou were close to Riglet and people come here and hunt, like we saw cousins we may have not seen in a year or more. And same with going to the North Coast, like you saw a lot of family, like you were able to connect with generations, like you're, oh, that's my cousin, I know who that is, or we're related this so, and so like you lose that connection. Like the reason was to go caribou hunting, but another reason was to actually connect with people in the communities.
I listened to a presentation by Dr. Ashley Consolo, who's one of the producers on this project, and she was talking about the importance of film for sharing Inuit knowledge and stories. And there was this interest and need from communities across Labrador to work on a new documentary film all about this connection between caribou and their communities. And they were looking for someone that had some film experience to be involved. And it really just aligned with my interests relating to wildlife conservation, Indigenous culture, and the film side. So that's one of the main reasons why I got involved in it, is that it just perfectly aligned with what I was trying to do.
I don't think our voices are heard. Like we can say everything and we can tell everybody what's happening, but because we're not scientists, we're not believed. So as long as we have this information recorded and documented, we're able to tell people, we're able to tell scientists, we're able to tell governments, like this is what's happening. You need to start listening to us so that we can start a process of healing, or a process of bringing caribou back, or finding ways in which caribou can help our communities survive and thrive without caribou.
I was kind of the main film person behind this, but really this work was completely led by Inuit, and a collaborative effort between a diversity of people. On the front line of it was members from the Nunatsiavut government, NunatuKavut Community Council, the Torngat Wildlife Plants and Fisheries Secretariat, as well as Inuit community members such as Ines, and then researchers from across Canada as well. And really, we've been working together for over 5 years on this film, as well as broader research initiative. And the goal was not to tell this story from one perspective or one angle, but really come together from a diversity of disciplines and perspectives to share the diversity of values and connections with caribou. So the collective process of creating this with different groups as well as with community members was integral to making sure the story was told in a way that aligns with Inuit values.
My biggest hope is that they realize that caribou is not just an animal. It's so important to everybody within like Nunatsiavut and NunatuKavut. Like we need, or even in Central Labrador, like we need to be able to let people know that we can't replace caribou like with moose meat, or we can't replace it with like chicken or beef. It's something that's really important, and it has a cultural connection of connecting youth with elders, or even youth with middle-aged people. that there's always a connection and there's always a story, and that's how people learn. Like it's through oral communication, and people need to understand that without the caribou, what do we rely on? What do we rely on now without it?
It was almost like the caribou was the reason, and everything else happened after.
I hope what Inuit community partners are hoping in this, in that they want the story of caribou to not just be about caribou, to be about what this loss of caribou means for communities, and to really promote awareness on these interconnections between communities and wildlife more broadly. I'm myself, I'm not Indigenous, I'm settler Canadian from Ontario, and I didn't know anything about, Labrador, about caribou, really about Inuit communities in general. And I think a lot of Canadians don't know that much about these parts of Canada, and especially the connection between Inuit and caribou in Labrador. And so I hope that this film provides a glimpse into what life is like and what these relationships are like between these communities and this culturally important species.
And you can catch Heard Inuit Voices on Caribou when it airs on CBC TV this Saturday, August 6th at 9:30 Newfoundland time, 9 o'clock in most of Labrador, or you can watch it on CBC Gem starting on Friday.